Hi everybody, and welcome to the Lunchtime Investor Show. Episode number 4, we're going to be talking about some amazing things here. Remember, this is all about you taking the lunchtime. Just that precious, few minutes. You eat, we talk. That's what it's basically about, to learn the power of investing. I have to say we have a very special guest here who was in the chat just a few weeks ago, and we asked, do you want him to come on the show? And 100% of you said yes, and he's here. And that, of course, is the one and only Henry Cohen. Welcome to the show, Henry.
Thank you, Marcus.
So great to have you here.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking through a couple of points, but I would like you just to very, very quickly tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get to know us, etc. Just very quickly.
My background is in business transformation, creating successful businesses and high-performing teams. And unfortunately, while I was doing that, my wife got ill. She contracted a very rare and aggressive form of dementia, and she only had, from diagnosis to her passing, she had 2 years. And so it was very sudden. It was quite devastating. But when you get married, you give a vow of in sickness and in health. So we cared for her at home. But the cost of doing that was significant, 6 figures. And after doing that, I didn't have huge reserves, and I started to get worried about paying the bills. And a friend took me to, you remember you used to have the Saturday sessions in a hotel in the Barbican?
And I know exactly where you were sitting. You were sitting, actually you were on the right-hand side,
yeah.
Yes, right in front of the stage.
Exactly.
You were front row, no?
Yes, I paid for the VIP tickets.
Right.
Because I thought if I'm going to hear about this new technique, then it's worthwhile being up close and personal. And it was inspirational, not just your charisma and your presentation skills, but also the things that you were talking about and the realization that there were strategies that were available to get into investment and trading and making money. And I'd never done it before. I knew nothing.
You were a total beginner?
Total beginner.
Okay.
And I was so inspired that day, I ran to the back of the room to
register. The good old days, right? Good old days,
yeah.
When we used to do things. We don't do things like that anymore.
No.
Yes.
But I thought, when you said there are a limited number of places on this workshop, and I thought, I've got to be first.
That's
in
true.
line.
Because people think that was always a marketing technique. It wasn't. We were in a hotel. We only had, because we had, live computers, etc. So we had to fill that room.
Absolutely.
And then you've gone on to achieve amazing things since that time.
Yes, I've been very blessed since that time, and it's because of Investment Mastery strategies, and also the support and the coaching and the accountability, which has helped me move from £5,000 initial investment to 450,000 today. Now, in 5 years.
First of all, congratulations, and I'm sure people on the chat will say congratulations to you as well. Okay, so Sibylla says, my sound is full on but can barely hear Henry. So maybe what we need to do is probably...
Sorry, do I need to lift the
Maybe
microphone?
a little bit, maybe have a little bit closer to you.
Is that better, guys?
And if you're facing me, maybe move a little bit to your right, and I'll move mine a little bit to the left, like this.
Hopefully that's better for everyone.
Hopefully. And obviously we could be having technical challenges, because the way it normally works is my team say everything works 100%, then we go live. That's the way it works.
Got it.
But tell me, so which strategies did you use mainly? And I think that's probably progressed throughout the years as well, right?
It has. I started with the VCA strategy.
Yeah.
And that's a technique where you buy into stocks when the price is going down, which was a revelation for me.
Right.
Because normally when the price is going down, you think, oh my God, got to get out, got to do something else.
Yeah.
But you showed us the way of actually investing as the price goes down, your average cost goes down, and therefore when the price recovers, you make a lot more money.
Now at this stage, people will be going, yeah, but what if the price doesn't recover?
Then you're patient.
Right, but that's only if you choose the right company. So it's not just getting into anything which goes down. It's like, somebody said, this is the latest technology, it's just launched. Great, let's run it all the way down to zero. No, it's what? Getting into...
It's about researching the particular company, because you're actually investing in that company.
That's right.
So why would you invest in a company you know nothing about, or that you don't feel that you want to be part of?
Actually, that's a really good point, right? Why invest in companies you know nothing about? And most people do that. They invest in companies they know nothing about. Yeah? Much better sound. Ooh, you're doing well.
Excellent.
Cool. So then you moved on from the value cost averaging strategy. Where did you still do it, by the way?
I still do VCAs.
Great.
I think VCAs, wonderful strategy, great long-term investment strategy.
And by the way, did you take advantage of the Trump dip?
Well, actually, I took advantage in a different way.
Okay, shall we come on to that?
Okay,
a little bit later. But okay, so then from the VCA, then did you get into cryptos?
I got into cryptos because while VCAs were very profitable, cryptos was a lot more volatile.
Oh, volatility.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
People don't like wonderful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See, this is a pro here. Yeah. By the way, if you want to get a copy of that strategy, the value cost averaging strategy, then it is in my book. Do you remember the title of my book?
The Lunchtime Trader.
The Lunchtime Trader, and you can get. Have you read it?
I have.
Okay.
I've got a copy by my bed.
Oh, very. I love it. Okay. What do you mean? Because if you can't sleep, okay. Well, let's not go there. So basically, you can download a copy free of charge. I think below in the notes. So then you moved on to cryptos, yeah?
Yeah, because cryptos. I joined the crypto club. I realized cryptos were more volatile. I wanted to see a faster return on my investment.
Tell me, everybody who's not in our clubs, if you're new out there, right? What do you honestly, what do you think about volatility? Be honest. Do you like it when you buy something and it falls 30%? That's what I'd like to know. What about you? Do you like something when you buy it and it falls another 30%?
Absolutely. Because provided you've chosen a particular asset that's not going to go to zero, so you've researched it, you understand the position.
So you're saying it doesn't have to be the best stock in the world. It just, and I think this is key, right? It doesn't have to be the best stock in the world. It just has to be something that isn't rubbish. I was going to say another word, but rubbish. And won't go to zero. That's all you need.
And the key factors are, it mustn't go to zero, but if you choose one of the big stocks, one of the really blue chip stocks, they don't move very much. No. There's not enough volatility. No. So you need to find something which is, in terms of market movements, going to be of interest to the market, that people are investing in it, it becomes something which people talk about. So, for example, AI. Mm-hmm. AI stocks are the big thing. NVIDIA, which makes AI chips, massive increase in prices over the past few months. So that's the sort of thing that you're looking for.
Absolutely. But you just mentioned, and this is important, you just mentioned cryptos, right? Yeah. And so people are going, all right then, so you're saying buy into companies, but these is cryptos. There's no, well, actually there is revenue now. I mean, look at the revenue that Solana's making, for example.
Absolutely. But also, the crypto coins, if you research them properly, you can see some of them have a real value, real world capability.
And utility.
And utility, yeah. Exactly. So going into those sort of coins where they have something that's worthwhile is going to, it's not like gambling, because some of the coins, like the Dogecoin and like the Trump coin.
So the meme coins.
The meme coins, yeah. That's all to do with hype and publicity. There's nothing behind them.
So this is really interesting, because most people would actually tell me, but isn't all this, whatever this is, isn't all this trading and investing, isn't it just gambling?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not gambling if you understand the way the market works, the way that these coins work, whether a coin is of value or not of value. So what you're doing, there is risk, but your objective is to minimize your risk and to put your investment into those coins that are going to do well.
Absolutely, and now we're just talking about investing. When you're actually trading and you have something called a stop loss, so you actually do limit your losses. I mean, where else do you have a stop loss? Where? Business? Well, maybe. Property? So for me, a stop loss is this, wow, so I can only have this much of a loss, but how much could the gain be?
Huge.
It could be, I mean, what's the most you've ever made on a coin?
3,500% on
Solana. 3,000.
500%.
So not 500%, 3,500%.
Yeah.
On one coin.
On one coin, Solana coin that I put some money into.
Yeah.
It was down. It was going down to about 80% of its all-time high, and then it recovered.
So did you carry on going into it as it went down?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just followed the strategy?
Yeah, follow the strategy.
You got to have balls of steel to do that. But I mean, I guess that
but it's logical.
Okay.
If the price is going down, buy more, because then your average price is lower, and when the price goes up again, you're going to make a lot of money.
I know. I think it's logical as well. It's just that when you tell people that, they kind of edge out the way, like you're a madman, you know, like this. That's if you've done your research and you really believe this thing is something, not just the latest thing, but it really does have a utility, and which Solana really does. I mean, one of the few coins that really does.
But you wouldn't buy a car without researching it. You wouldn't buy a holiday without researching it.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who go, oh, that looks like a good coin, I'll put some money into that. If you do the research...
Now, that is gambling.
That is
speculating.
Gambling. Absolutely.
I think it's worse than gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is pure gambling, because you're betting on, whether the price will go up or not, without understanding anything about what the coin is trying to do,
Yeah.
what the company's trying to do, and who they are. So, you know, if we do the research to buy our car or our washing machines or our holidays, why would we not do the research on the coin?
Well, because people will tell... I don't know why I'm answering that question. It's because most people tell you they don't know how.
But one of the things that, I mean, I'm not talking specifically about investment mastery, but investment mastery strategies have a degree of knowledge that's imparted, and you get a recipe. You know, one of the great things that you always said at your workshops was, we're making a chocolate cake.
Yes.
Follow the recipe and you'll make the most wonderful chocolate cake.
By the way, most people don't know this, but I'm really into food. Like it's my thing, right? The lunchtime. I mean, it's my thing. It's my thing. And I wanted to be a chef.
Yeah.
My father, he sent me somewhere and told that without telling me. He said, make sure when he comes back. I thought I was going to learn how to become a chef.
Right.
But they were told, make sure after that 4 months, he never wants to touch food. And they succeeded, by the way. But anyway, that's another story. So in a way, I've managed to bring my passion, we teach recipes, follow the recipe. Because you need ingredients, and they have to be a certain quality.
Yep.
But they always have to be in a certain order.
Yep.
You can't just bake the cake and then, as it comes out of the oven, crack open the egg and go voila. It has to be. Let's see what people are saying in the chat here. Apart from the noise. Oh, it's still noise.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a shame. We have a new setup at the moment. Somebody came in last week to set it all up, and unfortunately, it looks like it's still not working. Oh dear. But maybe some people can hear us, so let's keep going.
Reverb is on the voices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hope they can.
Let's hope some people can at least. Okay, I wanted to take us through some of these things here, just these talking points here, because most people might know that Warren Buffett, the sage of Omaha, he has finally stepped down as CEO of his company Berkshire Hathaway.
End of this year.
And guess how old he is?
94.
94 years old. Now, he's worth over 100 billion. Not million?
Yeah.
Billion. That is do you know how many noughts that is? That is a lot of money. I wonder if people really realize how much that is.
Yeah.
And really, it's all about, I think, the phenomenon called compounding, which people have maybe heard about. How would you describe compounding? What is compounding, if you were to describe it?
If I was to describe it, you have two choices when you make your profits.
Okay.
On an investment or a trade. You can either take them out and enjoy yourself.
Like most people?
Like most people do. Or you can leave them in. So if I've got a £10,000 pot, and I make £5,000 profit, if I leave it in, I've now got £15,000 to invest or trade.
Yes.
So the more profit I make and the more I leave it in, the more money I'm going to make, because I just keep adding to it.
And this is the challenge, Henry, when people come to us and they basically want to get rich very quick.
Yeah.
Which means that they're probably not going to succeed.
No.
They're too... as opposed to, okay... I am a professional, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I'm earning money on a monthly basis, and over time I want to build up a pot where I have choice.
Yes.
That is our ideal customer who basically realizes that, you know, if somebody comes to us and they say, seriously, I'll tell you a true story. So somebody came to me and said, listen, I'd love to make $2,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, so you want cash flow? Okay, fine. We're more really about building wealth, but yes, we can also get cash flow. Okay, but how much money do you have?
Yeah.
He had £2,000. Okay, so you laugh. He wasn't laughing, and I was like, oh, because, and I don't know whether people listening here are laughing. I don't mean to laugh at him, but it means that he's basically saying, Marcus, I want you to show me how to make 100% every month.
Yeah, and that's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah, not on a regular basis. However, I mean, I think people who are listening in, who aren't part of Investment Mastery, the realization is that this isn't an overnight thing that one does. This is a journey, and you have to make that commitment. But if you make that commitment, then there is no reason why you can't make a significant amount of money in about 18 months, 2 years.
Now, I don't know, and I think you're right, and I don't know what significant is for you, right? But I want to show a chart here, if I may.
Yeah.
Okay? And basically, do you think people would be... By the way, can I ask, before I show the chart, so Warren Buffett carried on because he just loved what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's also very important. It's not just about the money, not about the money. He just really loved. He used to say that I tap dance to work.
Yeah.
It's lovely, right?
He turned a failing textile company, Berkshire Hathaway, into having capitalization of over $1 trillion.
Amazing.
$1 trillion.
Now that's
unbelievable.
There's a few more zeros at the end of it. So can I ask, how old are you now?
I'm 76.
Okay. Now, can you imagine, because he was at 94, can you imagine doing this for another 25 years or so?
Absolutely, I can't wait.
But can you imagine if you achieved 5,000 to, what did you say?
450.
450,000 in 5 years.
Yeah.
Now imagine another 5, another 5, another 5, another 5, and another 5. Can you imagine the compounding?
Yeah. The only regret I have is that I didn't start this earlier in my life.
That's right.
Because if I was in my 30s, I would be just gagging to get into this and to make a lot of money.
Absolutely. But if you were in your 30s, you might not be thinking about doing it yet because you don't have the pain yet. Because you might be thinking, well, I've got a job. I'm not really thinking about later on in life yet. And people they think about it quite late.
They do. And I think somebody... And we take Warren Buffett's example, because he started off quite young. I think he was about 20-odd.
He was 14.
14, okay. And if you start in your 30s, because that's when you've got disposable income, and then you say, you know what, even if I put, let's say, 500 or £1,000 away a month and do this, then within 2 to 3 years, you've got a fortune.
I agree with you. The challenge is at last you've got disposable income. So now you want to go out and party, right? And so it's a bigger car, it's a bigger house. Can we please show this chart, peeps? Can we show this, okay? This is a picture, which I hope is coming up out, of the net worth of Warren Buffett. Now, let me take you through, and I want to hear your reaction here, right? So I don't know whether people can actually see my pointer. So he started at the age of 14 with 5K, and in 1 year, you know, he increased it, and he increased it. Where did he make most of his money, by the way? Where do you think he made most of his money, Henry?
In the last...
The last part,
period, yeah.
Right? The last period that you're looking at, that's where he made half his money. And it's in the last 2 periods where he basically made all of it.
Yeah.
And this is what people, and I want to stay on this chart for a while so people can really look at it, you know, because they're going to be looking at the left-hand side, oh, he started at the age of 40. Yeah, don't worry about that. The point is that he literally made 50 billion in that last 9 to 10 years. Yeah. That's where you make most of your money. So the longer you do it, and please, let's keep looking at this chart, everybody. Look at the right-hand side. That is, so when you say, oh, you know, we're going to retire when you're 65 and I don't have enough money, 60, 70, 80, 90. So if you did what Warren Buffett did, you know, retire, and by the way, he's still going to carry on investing. That's the thing, right? And then add another 30 years that you have of investments, you could make a fortune in 30 years, an absolute millions.
Absolutely.
Which I know you're going to do.
Yeah. Age is not a problem.
Ce n'est pas un problème. Okay, now how are we doing here? We've got Sibylla here. What's your outlook for crypto and stocks for the near term as well as long term into 2026? Is that long term?
That's not long term, but I can respond.
Go for it.
I think this is a glorious time to get into crypto because the coins are down because of the Donald's announcements on.
But the coins are down. It's panic mode.
No,
Fear.
But this is the time you go in because the price is down. And therefore you can get in. And even if the price goes down further, that's good news because you can go in more and reduce the average price of your coin.
But not on just any coin. It's got to be the top ones that you've done your research on. And by the way, just as you're explaining that, I would love for people in the chat to let me know, what did you think about that Warren Buffett compounding? Because it's one thing going, oh, yeah, that's interesting. But I want you in your own words to make a public declaration in the chat and say, what did you really think of that? Did you go, ooh, I didn't know that? Or, I'm going to do something now. Or was it just, yeah, whatever, you're just going to carry on with your life?
So apart from now being a great time, the other reason for it being a great time is that I have some contacts in New York who are traders.
Here we go. Some insider information. And the Donald is going to make some movement on tariffs in the next fortnight. The dollar is currently way down against the pound. It's about 10% down. And as soon as he makes those announcements, not only will the dollar go up, so if you want to make some money quickly, buy lots of dollars and then convert them back into pounds in about 2-3 weeks' time. But also, the crypto prices will increase significantly. And then I think we'll see it happening in Bitcoin, first of all, because that's always a leader. I think Bitcoin will go to probably around 200,000 this year. So a great time to get into it. You heard it here first. Henry Cohen says it. So Bitcoin goes to
200,000.
200,000 by the end of the year. Okay.
Yeah, and then that will pull all the other coins behind it. So now is the right time to get in. And interesting.
But you need a strategy.
You need a strategy to do it.
You can't just get in.
No.
Okay, what do I do now? Because
exactly.
And this is the challenge. There are so many strategies out there. Let's see what people said here. Hang on, it's not. Hang on, the age axis is not in equal gaps. No, not totally. The sound is sorted now. Great. Every live stream with problems every time. Do you prepare before streaming? Let me ask my team. Do you prepare before streaming? I'm getting a nod over there. Of course. They do, but it's a new system. In fact, we've changed the system twice.
All right. I like Gisella's comment. Awesome.
What
think this whole... Gisela says awesome, and I agree. I think it is awesome, and I am blessed to be part of this education capability, learning the strategies, using the strategies to create success for myself and financial independence. I mean, who would not want that?
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right, Marcus. You cannot just do it with the back of a fag packet. You've got to learn the strategies and stick at it.
So we've got some great comments here. Okay, so let's go through the comments. What would be the minimum to have a consistent cash flow?
The minimum investment? I start off with 5,000.
To have a consistent cash flow.
Consistent cash flow.
There's so many bits missing in that question.
Yes, there are. Yeah,
how much do you have to invest now? How long are you willing to wait until that cash flow comes?
Exactly.
How much cash flow do you need?
Exactly.
So thank you, Katerina, for your question. But the fact is, it just depends on so many different factors. But I think if the question is, I want, let's say, 2,000 a month now, how much do I need to have?
But you see, I would adopt a different strategy.
Okay.
And my strategy would be, if you've got a sum of money which you can invest, then get into compounding. Because by the end of the year, you'll have more than your 24,000.
Yes.
Created from your £2,000 a month.
Here's the challenge. When people want cash flow, they generally need it now.
Well,
and so when they make that money, guess what they have to do? They have to take that money out. So it's the short term, I don't want to say pain, but the short term sacrifice, sounds like I'm cutting somebody up, sacrifice in order for long term pleasure. But we have some other comments here. And I would love to... so Rolf, for example, says, please do tell people that Warren Buffett did not invest in cryptos. That is important.
He did.
Because he called it rat poison squared, or was that Charlie?
Yeah, but everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Even Warren Buffett.
Well, do you know, and I always say this, is that one of his, best friends was, and his, is it Bridge partner? Is, of course, Bill Gates from Microsoft. Yeah. And yet, Warren never invested in Microsoft because he doesn't really understand technology. So why? It was only in the last few years that he started investing in Amazon, where, by the way, he made billions, probably the most money in the shortest period of time through this technology company. So how would you expect somebody like that to be interested in cryptos?
But he followed one of the golden rules about investing, which was understand what you're buying.
Don't invest in anything you don't understand.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why he did stocks, and stocks he understood.
And he did very well.
And I've got to tell you, when I first started crypto, I thought it was snake oil. Yeah. But when you get into it, you realize there are some coins that have really got very good use cases. And that's what I've invested in. And I noticed there was a question before about what coins do I like?
Yes, just now.
Absolutely. I love Sol. I think Sol is a wonderful coin because it underpins so much of the crypto world. I love XRP because it's got good value. It's got a good use case.
Is that because Keith told you that it's great value?
I probably told Keith.
Oh, you're a real fan.
Yes.
You're a real fan.
Oh yes, I think it's a very, very good coin. But if you research the top 10 coins, Bitcoin is a good long-term investment. It's becoming like gold. And the other reason why crypto will grow and become more successful is because of the financial institutions are getting into crypto. They're doing these exchange-traded funds, which shows that big investors will say, fine, I'll buy the fund, I won't buy the coin. But that gives credence to what we're doing in crypto.
And there is one about to be launched, is there not, on XRP?
XRP is having an ETF. So if you look at the top 10 coins, there are 4 or 5 coins there that I think have real value. Like Link, for example, is another good coin. And they're all down at the moment. They're all down from their highs. Great time to invest.
We've got some interesting questions here. So, for example, Matt asked, buying dollars. Will buying USDC work, or do I have to buy dollars cash?
You have to buy dollars cash. USDC is just a stable coin that people use. It actually creates a lot of liquidity for the crypto market, but it's not something that's foreign exchange. So you need to buy a fiat currency, which is the dollars.
Okay, we've got lots of other ones here. Oh, you know what? We just put a compounding calculator up for people so people can play around.
Ooh, yes.
Especially with your family. You'll get them on board, so you're doing this together. So the link is in the chat. Farheen says, is the right time to remain invested in FANG stocks and shares at this time? Can you also explain how does profit booking work? So what kind of profits would you take?
In terms of?
Let's say you've got, you invested in Facebook, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, and Meta now.
Yeah.
So the FANG thing doesn't really work anymore. So let's say it goes back and you're up a certain percentage. When would you start taking profits?
Well, first of all, I follow the strategy.
That was the right answer.
But it makes sense because the strategy tells you how to take your profit. Yeah. And when we do a technique called feathering out, which is you can take some of your profit off the table or leave some on or let the whole lot run. But, the other, I like the sayings that we're given, like, let your profits run, follow the trend. The trend is your friend till the bend at the end. Till the bend at the end. And so there isn't for me a hard and fast rule except within the strategy. You follow the profit percentages in the strategy, and then you take the profits out. But invariably what I do is I reinvest them because I'm compounding.
Yes.
Because the more you reinvest, the more money you're going to make.
I've got a question for Etan, because Etan here says, time is of the essence. I can't wait 30 years. You see? Well, I'm just saying, right? So that's what he's saying, right? So Etan, how old are you that you can't wait for 30 years? And by the way, we're not asking you to wait. We're not asking you to wait 30 years. Look what Warren Buffett did in 20 years.
Exactly.
He still made millions in 20 years, so you can still do it. But I'm saying if you really, really want billions, you just got to wait a little bit longer. But the fact is, when is the best time to start?
Now.
Has to be.
Yeah. And
Well, the best time probably was 20, 30 years ago. Well,
No.
what's the second best time to start?
No, it's always now. Because,
to be.
because what amuses me is people say, oh, I missed it. No, you haven't missed anything. There are always opportunities.
Yes.
But the key thing to remember is that it's not a get rich quick overnight. It's something that you focus on, that you have the rigor and commitment to continue with. And then if you stick at it and you compound, within 18 months to 2 years, you will be very happy indeed.
Absolutely. Did you do any of this tax-free, by the way?
No.
Okay, because somebody's asking here, XRP is an ETF, so can I buy that in my SIP?
You can't buy crypto in SIPs.
No.
You can buy them in SASs, right, which is a
Yep.
company-administered pension scheme. But in SIPs, all you can buy is stocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what you can do, of course, well, he's asking about the XRP ETF when it comes out. I think it's the end of this month. Or was it just,
I think it's
Pretty
coming out
much.
the end of this month.
pretty
Yeah,
much happening
yeah.
now. At the moment, no. The answer is no, even though it's an ETF in your SIP. But you
Yeah, but-
can buy a proxy,
Yeah.
not of XRP,
Right.
but of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Well, you know it. MicroStrategy.
But you can buy the company.
You can buy a company that has, committed to buying $42 billion into Bitcoin. And people are wondering, shall I get some Bitcoin? There's a billionaire who's basically put all his profits in
Yeah.
to Bitcoin. Not that that's a reason you should do it. You still have to do your own research.
Yeah.
But now he is borrowing $42 billion, people, $42 billion to put into Bitcoin. And that, by the way, is going to shove the price up. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Michael. This is Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, now renamed Strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's so annoying because you talk about strategy on strategy. Anyway,
But-
MicroStrategy. I'm going to call it MicroStrategy. And it's a proxy because what happens is when Bitcoin goes up, because he owns so many Bitcoin within the company that it's basically Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes up a little bit, MicroStrategy shoots up, but when Bitcoin goes down, guess what happens to MicroStrategy? It goes down a lot more,
Yeah.
which is great before you start saying, oh, no, that's terrible, because then you can buy more of it.
Correct.
So very importantly, by the way, if you do you use the CCA strategy?
Yes.
Crypto strategy?
Yeah.
If you want that strategy, peeps, all you need to do is you need to go into the notes sections and you can download, I think it's like I can't remember, it's 24 pages of called what's it called?
Lunchtime trader.
The Lunchtime Investor. I'm looking at it. Cryptocurrency edition. That's the one.
Yes.
If you want that. And it talks about Solana. And
Yeah,
it talks
yeah.
about all of these kind of things.
And I see Eitan has said he's 73. Welcome to being successful, Eitan, in our 70s. And shalom, by the way. You can still do it. You say you don't have 20 years. Who cares? You've probably got at least 10 or 15.
But that's interesting because, yeah, maybe he's thinking, I not only want to make the money now, I want to spend the money now. I don't know. See, we're not financial advisors. We
No.
don't give advice.
And
right?
people have different risk profiles and people have different demands and desires.
But here's my question
Yeah.
to Eitan via you, which is, but what about having a family? How about teaching your family?
Absolutely.
Have you taught your family?
It's really interesting, Marcus. When I first started this 5 years ago, my children were petrified, right?
What's Dad doing?
Yeah.
He's gone mad.
Yeah, and why are you doing this to our legacy, Dad? And, the future and et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, let me do it for a while and see how I've got on. Now that I've shown that I've turned 5,000 to 450, guess what?
What?
They're very interested
Are
in
they?
it. Yeah.
How strange is that?
And I remember Rob Alder said to me, the way to get your family engaged
Yeah.
is not to lecture them, but to show them what you've done and to let them share in your success. And then they get interested because they would like some of that.
Absolutely, and because you're their father, they trust you. But when
Yeah.
they hear, let's say, me talking about it, they go, yeah, well, and they always want more proof and more. Some people literally, you can tell them that this is the color black, and they still will say this.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure it is black.
No, it is black.
It is black. Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
So they will say no, it's grey, and you're like, really? It's black because people are people.
Yeah, and I love those members who bring their family along to the workshops.
Amazing.
Because that way they're giving them a great start in life.
We have a 10-year-old in the crypto club.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I see the two of them together, it was the father and the son, I think it's wonderful.
And I remember at the members' meeting where he was about 18, wasn't he?
Oh, Taylor.
Taylor, where he'd researched all these new coins,
Yes.
and I was going, that's awesome.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Because obviously I reached out to him. I said he says, because I think he's 18 years old and he's managing his family's money, and he's up to now £330,000 pounds.
Wow.
I don't know whether that's tax free or not. I need to talk to him. But I said, listen, what are you doing after your A levels? Well, come and work for us.
Yeah,
and guess what?
absolutely. He said yes.
Yeah, he's starting to work with us next month.
Oh, fantastic!
I know, I'm so happy.
Wow.
Because he is so cool.
Wow.
Not in cool as in cool. Well, he's that as well.
Yeah.
But he's so into, and he started teaching people, and I said, come and do it with us.
Future coach.
Absolutely. At 18.
And,
wow.
and also because he's 18, then younger people will say, well, if he can do it, I can do it,
Exactly.
and I will join.
Exactly. And we might do some kind of a peer-to-peer youth coaching, and there's all
Lovely.
kinds of things that we can do here. By the way, we have put the Lunchtime Investor up for people there as well. You can just click on that. Esta la o link. ¿Qué pasa? Shalom, and thank you, says Eitan. Wonderful, wonderful. What does shalom mean? Hello, goodbye.
It means peace.
Peace.
Yes.
Peace.
It's
Shalom.
very like salam alaikum.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And I wish we had peace, but we don't,
No,
unfortunately.
exactly. By the way, this whole thing, the reason that we're talking to you, and the reason, compounding was the theme for today, and for those of you who don't have it, by the way, the link is on there for our compounding calculator so you can play around with it, is really you don't want to be working harder.
No.
People already work hard enough,
I know.
thank you very much.
I know.
The Lunchtime Investor is all about using your lunchtime, which you shouldn't be working, right, to eat your sani and spend just a few minutes once a week,
That's all.
just looking at, well, I'm sure you do more than once a week.
I do.
Yeah. But looking at your stocks and shares. Why? To grow your wealth so that later in life you have that one thing that most people don't have.
Yeah.
And that's choice.
Absolutely.
Do you want it? Because you're still working.
I'm still working, yeah.
In fact, you got into one of the crypto projects.
And that was through Investment Mastery's
Yeah.
Buyers Club,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
wonderful.
that's been extremely successful.
So I think, make your money work hard, which means you're not working harder, you're working smarter. That's what this is all about. Not you working harder. No, it's 20 minutes a day, should be lunchtime. But if you don't have lunch, or you could do it evening. Well, it doesn't matter when you do it. It really doesn't.
I do mine in the morning after
Do you what time?
After I get up, about 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, yeah?
Before the market's open.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want the market to be open and something goes up and then you get emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it beforehand. That's what we do. Yeah. So we're going to finish with this. How has compounding affected you? Because 5,000, you're not telling me that you didn't put some money in now and again. Because that's what we teach. Keep adding to it.
I kept adding to it. Every time I got the investment to a certain level, I'd add some more because I could see it was working. And compounding has been the basis of my success. Couldn't have done it without compounding.
Thank you. There is no way you could have turned 5,000, even though you did, I don't know how many thousands percent on Solana, right? There is no way without adding money and compounding and reinvesting your profits. That's what compounding is. Keep reinvesting your profits, reinvesting your profits, reinvesting profits.
And the interesting thing, Marcus, is that the strategies allow us to be successful on an individual investment, fine. But the real key to success is how much has your portfolio grown and over what period. And you achieve that through compounding.
Absolutely.
And that's been a great benefit. When you put the compounding calculator up first time I saw it in one of the workshops, I was just blown away. I just thought, this is a no-brainer.
I agree. Some people look at this and they say, and they immediately go, yeah, but this is without taxes. And they start picking faults with it instead of saying, look what I could achieve. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, and I
it's
remember
all mindset.
Yeah, it is mindset. And I remember talking to somebody about taxes, and my view is I'm going to make so much money, the taxes don't matter.
Exactly.
I'll pay for them anyway.
I have a question here. How many of you would like to pay more taxes? Just write it in the chat. I would. The more the better.
Exactly.
It just means I'm making more money.
Exactly.
People don't get that.
No.
Honestly, what's lacking is real basic financial education.
Financial education and people not looking at the negative all the time.
Interesting.
This is why I can't do it. Or one day I'll do it. But you have to look at what is the art of the possible. What can I achieve?
Absolutely. Listen, we're going to thank you for being here today, and we're going to thank Henry for coming. We'd love to have you on again. Is that okay? I'm going to say that now while he's here. He has to say yes.
I would love to. If people enjoy the conversation, I would love to be part of this again.
Thank you. Well, we'll see what people say. Yeah. Maybe we can do a poll. I don't know. But listen, this is what I want to leave you with, which is this. Never quit. Because if he can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah, agreed.
See you next week.